Formula One has once again found itself engulfed in controversy, this time not over on-track drama, but behind the scenes in the financial heart of the sport. Another budget cap storm has erupted, and it's already shaping up to be one of the most dramatic stories of the season. The FIA's latest investigation into the 2024 financial submissions has uncovered irregularities involving not one, but two teams. One of them has already accepted responsibility for a minor procedural mistake, but the other is now at the center of what could become a full-blown scandal, accused of exceeding the spending limit that defines the sport's financial fairness. Whispers began circulating during the United States Grand Prix weekend as rumors swept through the paddock of potential budget breaches. At first, no one knew which teams were under suspicion, and the silence from the FIA only fueled speculation. The first red flag came when the FIA delayed the release of its annual cost cap compliance certificates, a process that usually wraps up by September. This year, the delay stretched deep into October, and that silence spoke volumes. Then came confirmation. Aston Martin had been caught up in the review. But their case, as it turns out, is far less dramatic than the headlines might suggest. Aston Martin's breach was procedural, not financial, a bureaucratic hiccup, rather than an attempt to bend the rules. The issue boiled down to a missing auditor's signature on a set of financial documents due to be filed by March 31st. The missing sign-off was the result of external circumstances beyond the team's control. Once the oversight was identified, Aston Martin quickly corrected it, resubmitted the paperwork, and informed the FIA of every step. Because the team's actual spending remained below the $135 million cost cap limit, the FIA accepted their explanation under an accepted breach agreement. No fine. No loss of wind tunnel time, just the cost of the investigation itself. The paddock collectively shrugged. Procedural issues happen. Nobody truly believed Aston Martin was trying to gain an advantage. But the second case, that's where things get serious. Multiple sources have confirmed that another team, still unnamed, is under investigation for what's being called a substantial breach of the 2024 budget cap. Unlike Aston Martin's clerical slip, this one involves actual overspending. The FIA's cost cap, originally set at $135 million, but adjusted closer to $165 million with allowances for inflation and permitted exceptions, appears to have been exceeded. And that's a line no team wants to cross. Formula One fans still remember what happened when Red Bull was caught doing just that in 2021. An overspend of just 1.6%, small on paper, but significant enough to trigger a $7 million fine and a painful 10% cut in wind tunnel and CFD testing time. That punishment hurt Red Bull far more than the money itself because it directly handicapped their ability to develop the car. Wind tunnel time and CFD analysis are the lifeblood of aerodynamic progress, and losing any fraction of that time means falling behind rivals, especially with major regulation changes on the horizon. And that's what makes this potential breach explosive. With Formula One preparing for a complete technical overhaul in 2026, every team is already deep into early development work. Those initial aerodynamic concepts, those first design philosophies, they can define success or failure for years. If the team under investigation is found guilty and hit with a similar or harsher penalty, it could cripple their 2026 project before it even leaves the drawing board. For now, the FIA has refused to name the team or even confirm publicly that an investigation is ongoing, standard procedure in cost cap matters, but the paddock is buzzing with speculation. What's clear is that the team is challenging the FIA's findings, suggesting they disagree with how the governing body has interpreted certain expenses. This kind of dispute isn't new. The gray areas within cost cap accounting often lead to clashes between teams and the FIA. What counts as spending? What can be excluded? Can employee bonuses, hospitality, or certain R&D costs be written off? These are the kinds of questions that can turn compliance reviews into courtroom-level debates. According to insiders, the FIA's cost cap administration is still finalizing its review of all 10 Formula One teams, along with the power unit manufacturers. A statement from a governing body confirmed that official results will be communicated soon, but no individual team will be named until every single submission has been processed and adjudicated. Behind closed doors, the cost cap adjudication panel is already hard at work reviewing financial statements, balance sheets, and explanations with complete confidentiality. That secrecy means even the teams themselves aren't entirely sure who's being investigated, adding another layer of intrigue to an already tense situation. If the unnamed team ultimately accepts the FIA's findings, they'll likely enter into an accepted breach agreement, just as Aston Martin did. But this time, the penalties would almost certainly be far harsher. We're talking about multi-million-dollar fines and potentially a 10% or even 15% reduction in aerodynamic development time. On the other hand, if they continue to challenge the ruling, the matter could drag on for weeks, possibly months, as both sides present their arguments and evidence before the adjudication panel. The longer it goes unresolved, the more disruptive it becomes to the team's operations, and the more speculation will swirl around the paddock. But this saga isn't just about one team's finances. It cuts to the very core of Formula One's credibility. The entire point of the budget cap was to create a level playing field to stop the wealthiest teams from simply outspending their rivals. If it turns out that a team has knowingly broken those rules, and if the punishment doesn't fit the severity of the breach, it risks undermining the entire system. That's why this story matters far beyond the balance sheets. It affects competitive integrity, sporting fairness, and even championship legitimacy. Because if one team's extra spending bought them performance gains, faster development, or extra upgrades, then every result that followed becomes questionable. And that's where the plot thickens. With Oscar Piastri leading the Drivers' Championship by 40 points over Max Verstappen and McLaren already having sealed the Constructors' title, the suggestion that the grid might not have been financially equal adds fuel to an already fiery season. Could another team have secretly bought performance that others couldn't afford? Could this controversy taint the 2024 championship narrative? The questions are uncomfortable, but unavoidable. Formula One is built on the idea of precision, accountability, and fairness. And when financial integrity comes under threat, the sport's image itself hangs in the balance. As the paddock rolls into Mexico City for this weekend's Grand Prix, tension is in the air. Every whisper in the hospitality units, every closed-door meeting, every offhand comment from a team principal only adds to the drama. The FIA has promised that the official findings are imminent. When those results finally drop, whether tomorrow, next week, or just before the next race, they'll dominate the headlines. Because what's at stake isn't just money or wind tunnel hours. It's trust. It's fairness. It's the soul of Formula One itself. Can Formula One maintain faith in its financial regulations, or are teams still finding ways to stretch the limits of the cost cap? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And once you're done, click on the video on your screen right now.